Today's episode, I am speaking with Anil, who is the founder of My Appointment Software. As part of our series at the moment, we are going through different booking softwares that are available for therapists based on the fact that everyone asks the question, what booking software should I use? Now, the incredible thing about Anil is that she is actually a Maya therapist who has then created software based off the back of what is it that she wanted. So what she's put together is this amazing software that is really designed to help therapists and health practitioners be able to use booking software that is helpful, that's useful, that's beautiful. And so what she shares in this interview is really just the heartbeat behind why she has created this, what they've done, what process they've gone through, how this came about. And so her story is amazing. I look forward to sharing it with you, and I trust that this is super helpful, especially if you are looking at what booking software should I be using right now in my business. Hello, Anil, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Alicia. Thanks for having me on board.
I'm so excited to be able to chat with you today. Would you like to share a little bit about who you are and your backstory and how do you fit into this amazing industry?
So it's a bit of a long story, but basically I am a qualified myotherapist. I've been in practice now for 23 years, and I built a multidisciplinary practice, a Pilates studio and a gym from the ground up with no experience, no knowledge, and just got into the deep end like a lot of our practitioners do, not having any business experience, not knowing how the hell to get new clients through the door and all that sort of stuff, all the fun stuff that I'm sure you guys see in your coaching program a lot as well. So that was the beginnings of my journey, but I managed to build it into a successful practice with the gym and the Pilates studio. And then in 2014, I was pregnant with my twins, who are my third and fourth babies. And I thought it might be time to sell off and move away from practice for a little while. So I did that, and then that led me into managing a campaign called Your Health, Your Choice, which is about protecting consumer right and access to natural therapies. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners probably don't know that we came incredibly close to losing rebates. There was 16 therapies that were on the chopping board, and out of all of them, massage and myotherapy and Ayurveda were the only ones that actually managed to keep rebates. And so we're working on campaigns to go to talk to government, to get back then Minister Greg Hunt to change his mind, and we're really successful. We got him to initiate a $2 million review, but a lot of the major practices like naturopathy all lost rebates, and we knew that that would have an impact on their practice. So that led us to thinking about ways that we could help support our practitioner community in running their businesses, and that's what led us to building the My Appointments practice management software, and that's how we've got to where we are today.
Wow. Well, on behalf of massage and myotherapist throughout Australia, we say thank you for the work that you did in order to be able to retain that status. That would have been, what was it like being part of that process? Just, I know it's not what we talked about, but I would love to know, like, what was that process like, lobbying with governments and associations and things like that?
So we have a team of people that were working through the Your Health, Your Choice campaign. So they were the ones talking with industry, with associations, with Complementary Medicines Australia, who's the peak industry body in the complementary medicine sector. So those guys were all using their initiatives and their connections to talk through to all the associations. So our role in this campaign was just to build the systems and the tools to make it easy for our people and consumers and practitioners to lobby against their government. So we essentially built a website where people go in, they fill in some questions, and we would guide them on what to write without telling them what to write. And then we would send it out to all their senators and local MPs as well. So we were behind the campaign, the actual technical side of things, and coming up with ways that we could actually get government to listen. So it was a lot of fun. We got some really good feedback. We were hearing, lots of things going on in Parliament about the impact we were making. We flooded Minister Hunt with emails, like 500 emails minimum per day, every single day for about 30 days. So that part of it was a lot of fun, and it had an impact. So it felt good to be part of something that changed government's mind, because as you know, it's very difficult to do. So that was my role in it. But yeah, it was a great process to be involved in seeing what actually is happening in Parliament with respect to stuff that really impacts us as practitioners.
Yeah. And also to be able to see how technology platforms can enhance the passion that we have, to be able to see how can we use this incredible platform, the internet, with some really powerful, I'm assuming, technology in the background of that, but also to be able to get a really powerful message through. And I can see how that has definitely led you into the path of my appointments, being able to take that passion that you have for the treatment room, and coupled that with some really great tech platforms. It's amazing, and a really great process to be able to go through. So what, like, of all the things that you could do to help the industry, what was it that made you decide, yes, booking software is the thing I want to go after?
I think it's the pain points that we as practitioners feel. So I started when I was 19. I was in my final year of my therapy. I was working with a chiropractor, and when I finished my myotherapy course, he actually left, and so I took over his lease and started running my business like literally the day that I graduated. And so that process, I'm sure you remember those days, Alicia, when you first started. It's like, what the hell have I got myself into? And it's that realization of, wanting to be there to do something to help your patients, but not really being interested in the business side of the business. You're just there to help people. But then when you get into practice, you're like, oh, holy moly, it's not just treating my patients and helping my patients. Now I've got to deal with all these other factors of running a business. And it's really quite consuming, and it's very difficult to navigate and be a good business owner while also being a good practitioner. And so I basically just thought back to all the stuff that would have helped me in my early days as a practitioner. And I thought, how would I have managed things differently if I had the tech behind me? And a lot of that came down to, I'm sure when you first started as well, not being able to afford a receptionist. So I thought, okay, I eventually had a receptionist. So if I could build something that would save somebody the cost of having to have a receptionist, what would that be? And so I started looking at all the things that I was paying my admin for, and started finding ways to build automations around that to make it easier for practitioners to be able to manage their practice. So a lot of the stuff we've all automatically built in is things like intake forms, and it's a really seamless process where patients provide their health fund details. They can upload test results, all of their emergency contacts, their current health history, current complaint, all that sort of stuff. And then our system automatically saves it into their file. It makes it really easy for you then not to have to worry about data entry, but things like collecting referral source, so you know how you're growing your practice. And the basic stuff that makes it easy for you not to have to deal with the admin side of things. And so that was some of the stuff we built in, plus some client follow-up processes, client birthdays and missed appointments and new clients and things like that we built into the software. So essentially it just came down to, okay, what did I find hard? What did I not enjoy doing? What did I never have time for? And I found a way to build that into an affordable practice management software to support our practitioners in growing their business. So that was the main part of it. But I was also wanting to try and build in some stuff that I know practitioners struggle with, which is marketing. And that's the next element of what we're working on now.
Yeah, amazing. And did you build this yourself, or have you partnered with somebody to do it?
I have a business partner. So she has a graphic design background. She's not a practitioner herself, but she's had a lot of experience in running businesses. So one of the biggest compliments we get about our software is that it's incredibly user-friendly. You don't need any tech skills. Everything's done for you. All the templates are done. So all of that comes from me. All the wireframes, how things are going to work, come from me. And she's the incredible designer who takes like all of my ideas. I'm just one of those people that has so many ideas. And so I'll come to her and go, this is what I want to build and this is what we need. And then she'll just bring that vision to life through a really nice user interface. And then we have a development team that actually build the tech side of things. So we're the front of house. We talk about what features we want, what will help support our practitioners. And then we research about how to make it as easy as possible for people to use that feature. And then we'll design it. Then we'll get the developers to actually build the code behind it.
Yeah. And I think, like, with I know with graphic design, it's something that one of the geniuses of graphic design is when things are designed well, it makes sense how you approach it. From whether this is a flyer on a clinic door or a movie poster of something that's coming out or a website, when it's done intentionally and done well, then often the tech side of things, like, it doesn't matter how that's built. What matters is that it's really simple and it makes the process intuitive.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's a really amazing partnership to have somebody there that can do that, can read your mind, take those amazing ideas as a practitioner, and then be able to put them into place.
And that's what it comes down to. It's that usability. If that's what you can nail, that's why we've had such great traction on our platform, not just because it's affordable, we've got free plans, et cetera, but because when you get onto the software, it's really, really intuitive to use. But having the background behind, having run a practice. It's also knowing that how to build those graphics to make it easy. Like, for example, with our treatment notes, we have intake forms, we have past appointments, we have appointment notes, that is, test results, any documents, all on the left-hand side while you take your notes on the right-hand side. And so as a practitioner, you're no longer having to go and find your files and read through your files. Everything's just there in that one view. And so that's where the graphic design is really, really important, because when you're looking at that interface, you want to make sure that it really saves the practitioners the time and it makes it easy for them to understand what's going on. So yeah, it's definitely the biggest compliment that we've got, that we are one of the most user-friendly practice management software on the market.
Love that. It's beautiful. What were some of your biggest lessons along the way? What have you learned?
I think in general, this applies across building the My Appointments platform and being a practice owner as well. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you can't do everything yourself. I mean, it'd be great if you could, but if you want to be a really successful practitioner, you need to learn to let go of the things that are taking up a considerable amount of time, because otherwise you find yourself being the person that does everything. And so you do everything, but you don't do everything well. You just do it because it has to get done. And so when you're too busy focusing on client care, then you're not focusing on the business. When you're too busy focusing on the business, then you're not necessarily offering the best client care. So that balance, personally, I found the hardest. I loved both elements of that, like being with clients and the business element as well. But trying to find that balance, I definitely found the hardest. And what I've learned more so in the last few years of my life, when things have become a lot more complicated with building tech and support and all the stuff that comes with the management of our software, is that I've learned to start outsourcing. And that means that if I've got somebody doing the things that save me time, then I can focus on more of the tasks that move the needle in my business. And so for me, that's definitely been the biggest lesson, is knowing that it's okay to get help and support to build your practice, because it means that you're going to be a more successful practitioner, going to be able to earn more revenue and have support there so that you can create a better work-life balance.
Nice. And it is so important as we grow, we can't do it all ourselves. And sometimes that learning to let go and trust other people to do it is like however, really, really important. Is there something that you have built or made, or an idea you've had that you're incredibly proud of? Like maybe one element or something that you're like, I did that, I thought of that. That's the bit that I really like.
Oh, that's like asking me to pick a favorite child.
Oh, it's the one that naps the most. We know.
Definitely intake forms, but also provider numbers. So you know this yourself in practice, is if your patients are having to manually claim, then you've got so many different provider numbers. And if you're in 2 locations, then you've got even more provider numbers. And so with the intake form process, we're collecting the patient's health fund details. So those that don't have Tyro Health integration for online rebates, or don't have a HiCaps or a Tyro terminal, that we automatically insert the correct provider number onto the invoices. So anything that serves around that kind of stuff that saves practitioners time, and it becomes something that I don't have to think about, is what I'm most proud of, because they're the things that I'm like, oh God, how am I going to do this? This is just complicated. So anything that I've built around saving practitioners time has definitely been my favorite. What else? Yeah, well, I guess it would be probably the intake forms. That whole process of the amount of times that it's saving, it would probably be the one thing I would pick more than anything.
Yeah, I think those provider numbers, that's a really cool bit. Like I call them the 1%. It's the 1% of things that we do that makes the holistic, amazing, an amazing experience of using the software. And that is one of those things that people often ask, how do I make my provider numbers? I've got so many, and how do I? And it's like, I'll just put them all on, was the answer we used to give. And to be able to say, no, this person is with this product, with this fund. And so that means it connects to your number here. And so it just magically goes into that's really cool. Yeah,
and automatically sends the receipt to the client. So there's literally nothing the practitioner has to do. They put the payment in and then off it goes. Patient gets it, off they go to claim. So it makes it super seamless.
Nice work. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, let's talk about tactical things that are part of the software. These are questions that I see in the Facebook groups all the time, which is why we're redoing our blog. It's why we're redoing these, and we're talking to developers and creators on the podcast. Can it do things like wait lists? Can it do things like prepayments, gift vouchers, memberships? You've spoken about intake forms, but group bookings. These are the kind of slightly more obscure things that people ask about that I'm like, I'm just going to ask you, does it do these things?
In short, no, but it's already in development for us to release. So prepayments, deposits, we've just released card tokenization as well, because we've got prepayments and deposits. We've had that for a while, but for our practitioners, if their patients are claiming on health insurance, you're not allowed to collect upfront payment. So it's become a bit of a barrier there. So what we've done is released card tokenization. So that means you can secure the appointment with a credit card. That means we display the cancellation policy every single time a patient books an appointment as well. So if they cancel outside of your terms, then because you've got their credit card stored, you can actually automatically charge their credit card, and then their credit card is encrypted. So any future payments, you can literally click one button, their card gets processed, they automatically get a copy of the receipt. So those things we have. Gift vouchers is something that we definitely get asked about a lot, and it's right on top of our development queue, but we've just gone through a major upgrade of our systems and our servers and some new features that we've released. And so our next phase is to build in gift vouchers. The other one we get commonly asked about is packages, because a lot of people do ask patients to prepay for appointments. So we're building in packages, and then group bookings is a part of that process as well. So anything that practitioners are asking for, they're already in our development queue, but because we're still a new software, it obviously takes us a bit of time to build them.
Yeah, which I think is an absolutely perfect and fine answer. Like, things don't have to be like, if we waited till everything was built and perfect and amazing, half the things that you're doing probably wouldn't be there, and it would obviously be another couple of years before it's done. For goodness sake, like the quicker we launch and the more we get feedback and in real time, it's great to be able to know what's coming as well. To be able to go, these are the things we know we've earmarked, and these are the things, the amazing things that it does. This is where we're going in the future. So that's awesome. Great job.
Yeah, and we'd like to take our practitioners' feedback as well. So we knew that if we had built everything from the get-go, we would probably be in development for about 6 years just to get it to that point of having everything. And then the problem becomes, if you try to beta test at that stage, it would be an absolute nightmare, because there'd be too many things to test. There'd be too many things to fix. Doesn't matter how much high-level testing that we do in our systems. We've literally had 2 people, both with iPhones, but one was on a different operating system to the other one, and one person couldn't see a button and the other person could. So they're the things that you can't pick up in a testing environment. And so this is why you go out in that beta stage to get feedback. So like you said, if we'd waited until everything would have been built, we wouldn't have launched, and we probably would have been bankrupt by the time we got to the launch stage, because of how expensive everything costs to develop. But we've done it slowly and we've done it properly. And then the beauty about that is that when we release something, we're very good at taking feedback. And so when our practitioners come back to us and say, this is great, but I wish I could do this, we'll then adapt our wireframes and make those adjustments, because we know that if one person is asking for it, and if I can see the merit and it would have helped me as a practitioner, then others are going to ask for it as well. And so the beauty of building things slowly and properly is that you can take the feedback, adapt it, and make it more user-friendly or more intuitive for practitioners, so that you can then give them what they need in a timely manner as well.
Yeah, nice. So if I'm a practitioner out there, who was my appointments made for?
Being a myotherapist, naturally, any massage or myotherapist are what we built the platform for. But because of where we've come from with all of the campaigning we've been doing, a lot of naturopaths, homeopaths, and herbalists have been most impacted by the recent changes with rebates. And so we came from an angle of going, well, how can we support those ingestive therapists as well as the tactile therapists? So most of our users are either massage therapists or myotherapists, but we do have a lot of naturopaths, nutritionists, homeopaths, and herbalists that also use our platform. And essentially the majority of what both need, the tactile therapists versus the ingestive, is the same. The only difference is with our intake forms, for example, we pre-built all of our templates. So we've got like food diaries, and we've got menstrual cycle, and we've got energy and mood scales, and a whole bunch of other stuff that our ingestive therapists need, but our tactile therapists don't. But the beauty is that the system is so customizable. You can just go in, turn on and off exactly what you want to use in our system. So yeah, the majority of people we see are within those groups, but we also have chiros and physios and osteos and other practitioners using our system, psychologists, counselors, all that sort of stuff. But our focus is massage, myotherapists, naturopaths, nutritionists, and herbalists.
Yeah, and there are plenty of them available.
There are.
That need booking software,
Absolutely.
so that's fantastic. What's your 10-second elevator pitch?
Oh, my 10-second elevator pitch for my appointments is that we help practitioners save money and time and reduce their administrative burdens. So that would be my 10-second elevator pitch. Was that 10 seconds? I don't know. But
that was a less than 10 seconds. Just like 3. Nice work. Yeah, that's amazing. And why should someone choose My Appointments as their booking software?
There's a few reasons. One is that we're industry built and owned practice management software, and that means that we take the feedback from our users on board. I think the most common feedback we get from people that are transitioning from other practice management software is that when they provide feedback or they ask for things, there's either no response, or they get shut down, or they cannot get the support that they need. So their answers are usually quite simple, and it's something that they've missed. But if they don't get the support that they need from their software, then they run, or they're going to make their lives more complicated. So where I really pride myself on with our software is the incredible support that we have. We've got live chat, we've got email, and we're very, very responsive, and taking our feedback from our users. So if that's important to someone to have the level of support, that's one of the reasons why they should come to us, because one, we listen to them, and two, we're there to support them through their journey. The other main reason is that we make it easy for people to get onto our system, because everything is pre-done for them. So when they set up their account with us, they can choose option A or option B. Option B is that everything is done for them, and they just click one button and they can just start booking appointments. And then option B is that they can go into our setup wizard, where they literally just click, I want to adjust my hours, I want to adjust my templates for intake forms, I want to adjust my treatment note templates, I want to get my booking link, and our system just takes them step by step through the entire process. But everything's also pre-done for them. So they either just accept what we've done, or they make some changes. So in terms of getting on board, it's super easy because it's all done for them. And the last is the time and money savings. So we've got 2 plans, and the most popular plan is our free plan. So we don't charge a monthly fee to use the software. The only things that you pay for are SMS credits. We also have fees to use telehealth, which doesn't relate to a lot of your listeners, but for our ingestive therapists who do telehealth appointments, we've got credits that get purchased to use those 2 features. And we also have inbuilt payment processing. So when anybody wants to process a payment, they actually don't need to do anything. As soon as they start with us, they can start processing payments immediately. If they choose to purchase a little terminal, it's like a little Square unit, but our prices are significantly better than Square's, then that terminal talks to our system. But otherwise, somebody can get on board, and the only things that they're paying for is payment processing when they're processing a card payment only, not cash or direct deposits or anything like that. And then when they're purchasing credits. And so it makes it super easy for someone, especially if they're new in business or they're not very busy, to get on board to using software, because naturally they're not having to pay that monthly fee, and they're only buying credits, and those credits get used as they use the platform, rather than just, buying something and not actually using it. So yeah, they're probably the top 3 reasons to come on board to use My Appointments.
I love it. That's amazing. Well done on all the incredible work and incredible ideas that you've had to be able to develop this and create this, and for the impact that you're making in the industry. It's really exciting to see. And clearly you are passionate, not just about what you do, but you're passionate about the industry as well. So yeah, well done on all the incredible work that you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure. I love being able to support our practitioners.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing to be able to connect and learn all about My Appointments.
Thanks for having me.